Hey, this is C&D channel. I'm Chris, and this is MMA for you. I'm going to be doing my prediction for the Ultimate Fighter finale, Tough 14 finale, which is going to happen on December 3rd on Spike TV. Okay, let's just get started with the main card and go to the prelims. Michael Bisping is going to fight Jason Mayhem Miller in the main event. I believe it's going to be a 5-round fight. You know, as much as I don't want to see him win, I think Michael Bisping's going to take this. You know, when he gets taken down, he gets up pretty well. He's using a lot more offensive wrestling these days. His work rate is really good too. You know, the guy's always moving, always attacking, you know, and whatnot. The only thing with Bisping though is the guy really can't defend an overhand right very well. I mean, Jorge Rivera hit him with that. Dennis Kang managed to drop him. Of course, the Dan Henderson one. And that's the thing. With Mayhem though, he has really good BJJ skills. But like I said, Bisping's really good at getting back to his feet. And then Mayhem has to take him down there too. And also the thing with Miller is that he hasn't fought in a while, so that that kind of concerns me as well. Just that he hasn't fought in a while. So, you know, I want Mayhem to win, and I'm gonna pick him, but I gotta go with Bisping to win this one. Okay, for the featherweight finale, Dennis Bermudez is gonna fight Diego Brandao. Diego impressed me, both of them impressed me. Bermudez really impressed me, even in his fight to get into the elimination round fight. He fought someone that was pretty highly touted and won. Jeez, I forgot who it was. But, you know, he has good wrestling. His ground skills are pretty solid. His ground pound solid. Didn't help that Akira kept tagging him with that left a lot. With Diego, I mean, this guy's got aggression, and one of the only things that may be a weakness of his that I can see is cardio. So Bermudez might be able to outlast him, but otherwise I think Diego's got the better striking. He hits really hard, but it's kind of to his detriment because he seems to put all of his power into his strikes. And I remember, I think it's the elimination round where he subbed the guy, if I'm not mistaken. You know, but yeah, I got Diego winning this one. You know, he's definitely has, with that aggression and whatnot, I think he should be able to take this one. But Bermudez, you know, like I said, he has some pretty solid skills, and he's really impressed me through the whole season. Okay, next fight after that we have John Dodson versus TJ Dillashaw. You know, TJ Dillashaw, training out Team Alpha Male, he's shown some pretty solid striking. He has a really good right hand, and his wrestling is top notch. The thing with Dodson though is, this guy is really fast, and he throws a lot of combinations. He gets inside, throws a combination, gets out. If he gets taken down, he gets back to, you know, right back to his feet. The thing is with Dodson, he's a natural 125er. So that's always going to be a disadvantage for him. Otherwise, I think the other thing that Dodson has is just more experience. I think Dillashaw, as far as pro fights go, he has like four or so pro fights. So yeah, I think I'm gonna pick John Dodson to win this one. Okay, next fight after that we have the Master of Thug Jitsu, Yves Edwards versus El Kooky Tony Ferguson. You know, as much as I hate to say it, I just think that Edwards is more on a decline, whereas Ferguson, where's your kid? Is more, you know, is definitely an up and comer. Ferguson has some really solid striking, really good left hook, especially. Yeah, and he's just a guy that looks like he's gradually improving. I like Yves Edwards. He's a veteran. His stand-up's really good. It's not like he's just a slouch on the ground either. But if this becomes a stand-up fight, it really could go either way. But well, I don't know about how about it? It's tough for me to say. As good as Ferguson's striking's looked, he's gonna go up against a guy that has that's been there, and fought some of the best, and is known as a pretty potent striker himself. So I think we'll really see Tony Ferguson get tested here, but I think he'll pass the test. So I got Tony Ferguson winning this one. And finally, Johnny Bedford is going to fight Luis Gaudinot. Both these guys impressed me in the show. Gaudinot, he's a pretty aggressive guy. He's kind of small for a weight class also. He couldn't get past Dustin Pegg's length. And I think that might actually be the case here too. Bedford's got some solid wrestling. Gaudinot, he's actually got a pretty good ground game, if I'm not mistaken. His stand-up's pretty good as well. Bedford had that, I just saw it. He had that good fight with Dodson, actually. He did get knocked out, but he didn't look bad against him, So this one's actually kind of tough for me to call, but I'm going to go with Johnny Bedford to win this one. Okay, on to the prelim card, which is going to be played on Facebook. Let's start with Marcus Bermudez versus Stephen Bass. I got to go with Bass in this one. Most of his wins are by submission. He's undefeated professionally. He likes to do a lot of rear naked chokes or triangle chokes. As seen with the show, Bermudez doesn't exactly have the best ground game. He does have some heavy hands, so you gotta watch out for that. And he does train out of American Top Team, so they could definitely be helping them fix that hole. But right now, I think Stephen Bass is gonna take this one. I think he's gonna try and take the fight to the ground and go for the sub. He's not, seeing his record, I mean, he only has one win by a KO or TKO, and the rest, it's 5 submissions. So, thinking he's going to try and get this fight to the ground and win it there. Okay, next fight after that, John Albert's going to fight Dustin Pegg. John Albert's interesting. He's never actually been past the second round. Half of his 6 wins are by by submission. With Dustin Pegg, most of his wins are actually by submission. 7 of his 10 wins are by submission. He's actually on a 5-fight win streak, despite losing on the show. Obviously, those ones don't count. He's only. I like Dustin Pegg. He's only 24. I was pretty alarmed though when he fought Dillashaw, just how he looked just very not used to being on his back or something, considering how many submissions he has under his record. Maybe he just fought a really good wrestler, but it's he didn't really seem to understand the concept of getting back to his feet, for example. He just keep the closed guard, you know what I mean? And so that was kind of alarming. So if he gets taken down, I hope he can get back to his feet and learn to open his guard a little more. He's tall for his weight class, and he fights tall too. He throws a lot of knees, a lot of straight punches. He's a tough kid too. Yeah. I remember against Dillashaw, he took a pretty big beating and managed to go to decision with him. I gotta go with Dustin Pegg to win this one. Okay. Next fight after that, we have Roland Delorme versus Josh Ferguson. This one's tough to say for me. Ferguson, he has an 8-3 record, and all of his wins are by submission. So he's a finisher, and he's a guy that finishes by submission. Delorme, out of 6 wins, 2 of them are by KO or TKO, and 4 of them by submission. And he has a judo base as well. Tough for me to call, but I'll go with Roland to win this one. Okay, next fight after that, we have Josh Clopton versus Steven Seiler. With Clopton, He's actually undefeated. He has a 6-0-1 record. He's never won by a KO or TKO. He's never lost. 4 wins by submission, 2 wins by submission. Seiler's had a lot of fights. 18 wins and 9 losses. Most of his wins are by submission, 12 of them to be exact. And he's actually only 24, and he's already fought a lot. Trains out of Victory MMA as well in San Diego, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's where, like, jeez, I forgot his name. Jeez, I forgot his name now. Jeremy Stevens, I believe, fights at Victory MMA. There we go. So yeah, I'll go with Steven Seiler to win this one. And finally, we have Brian Caraway versus Dustin Neese. Dustin Neese has a lot of fights. 23-17-1 record. Most wins by submission. Most losses by submission as well. 11 losses by submission. 15 wins by submission. Caraway, though, you know, most of his wins are also by submission. He trains at Team Alpha Male. He's a WEC veteran. I'll go with Brian Caraway to win this one. So that's it for my Tough 14 finale predictions. If you have any comments, just leave them below. And that's pretty much it for MMA for you. Thank you very much.